Now the faculty introducing you to the specializations, talking a bit about each of the majors. And if you have questions, we'll answer your questions, both academic and non-academic. If there are many questions, we'll probably split into smaller groups, depending on the majors. Is that fine? Okay. Venu, over to you.
Good morning. As you have guessed, my name is Venu, and I am the director of the School of Liberal Studies, which is responsible for the undergraduate program. I have many of my faculty colleagues here, not all of them, a small group who come this morning, and they will also speak to you or answer questions, clarify about particular areas of specialization, teaching and learning. What I would like to do is to give you an overview of the university's intent in starting a program like this. The structure of the undergraduate program itself, its educational goals, what we hope studying in a program like this will do for a young person entering higher education in India today. And finally, we hope that all this will help you decide whether Azim Premji University's undergraduate program is the right kind of program for students who are here and who are applying. So since our application process has ended, I presume that all the students here are those who have already applied for the program. So actually we are coming to the end of the first year of the undergraduate program. We started in 2014. In fact, we have a few of our students here. You can talk to them, or they will answer questions for you. As Rajgopal said, the university began into its programs in 2011 with two postgraduate programs in education and development. It's an MA or a Master's in Education and a Master's in Development. The university itself is the beneficiary of a large philanthropic endowment which Mr. Azim Premji set up in 2001 and which he augmented quite substantially over the years in the last few years. So Mr. Premji wants to dedicate much of his wealth to improving or to contribute to India's education and broadly development, and he set up the Azim Premji Foundation, which in 2008 decided to start a university, and the government of Karnataka passed an act which created the university, and Azim Premji University became the first private university in Karnataka. Subsequently, many other private universities have been created. So we are a unique university in the sense that programs that this university is interested in are very specifically oriented towards the social sector, and therefore I can say with some degree of confidence that this university will not have engineering degrees or medical degrees or management degrees anywhere in the near future, if at all, ever. That's very deliberate. It's deliberate in the sense that we feel that the mandate, the purpose of this university is to prepare young persons, of course to be very well educated, while at the same time to be sensitive to the realities of this country and to be able to make substantial contributions in whatever way they can, in whatever professions and occupations they choose, to contribute to that. What does it mean? So, Out of this concern came the decision to prepare students through our postgraduate programs to work in the social sector. The second interest is in teacher education. One of the most important ways in which we can hope to improve the condition of education in the country is to improve the quality and the capabilities of teachers. In some way, teachers dramatically amplify the good in education and sometimes also the bad. A good teacher can have a tremendous impact on his or her students. An indifferent teacher, on the other hand, can lead many of his or her students to lose interest. So, improving the quality of education by improving teacher education is a very, very important mandate of the university. And one of the ways in which we are going to do that is also to build a very, very good undergraduate program. Some of our undergraduates, we hope, will go on to become teachers. It is not that they must become teachers to fulfill their own social interests or even the mandate of the university. They can choose to do whatever they wish. However, we have a very specific outlook in talking about what it is to be well educated. And that point of view underpins the design of the undergraduate program. We feel that the well-educated student of the early 21st century India should have both broad capabilities of critical thinking, analytical capabilities, ability to understand their responsibilities as citizens in a complex, diverse, and in many ways very unequal and sometimes very unjust society that India is. So, they also need to be sensitive and capable as people capable of ethical action. People who are able to put their own interests in the context of the society they are part of and take sensitive decisions. Are you with me? Am I losing you? I'm asking the students in particular. Because if you have already lost me, you will feel that this is the kind of teachers I am going to get. I better not come to the university. Okay, there are much better teachers than me in the university. Okay? So, a student, a graduate from this program, we hope, will be a sensitive individual, capable of understanding himself and herself, the complex social, psychological, political influences on a 20 or a 21-year-old at this time in this country. Will be able to understand and question what it is to act ethically towards other people, towards other members of society. Will hopefully be well educated in the areas of her interest, whether it is physics or biology or humanities or economics or whatever else we may offer later. Right? Has both skill, capabilities of analysis and fairly a solid foundation for exploring what they want to do in the future. Whether you want to enter the workforce and work, you want to study further, right? Whatever else you may want to do, a person prepared in this manner, not merely as a technically specialized person, right? But technically specialized in the way you can be, ethically sensitive in the way you want to be, emotionally balanced in the way a 21-year-old can be. All those are equally important. We hope we can provide an environment which helps you along the way. Preparing well-educated individuals is not an exact science. There is no formula for it. Right? It's as much the responsibility of the student, as it is of the teacher, as it is of the institution. Many things go right, many things can go wrong. Right? Students of your age group come under tremendous pressures, psychological, family, social, peer group, which make tremendous demands on you. Right? We do see and we have seen in our own environment and outside that it's like a tightrope walk, very often, not always. Okay? So we hope that this program will help you. When it's a tightrope, we can support you. When you're flying, you can fly. So the curriculum that we thought of with these broad aims and objectives has a few key elements. One part is called the common curriculum. That is something which every student in the program has to do, regardless of whether your major is physics or biology or humanities or economics. One part of it has certain courses in what we call foundations. Foundations of using language, reading well, writing well. Let me tell you that none of you know how to read well and write well. Even many of us are still learning the art. Okay? How to read critically, right? Analytically, relate what you read to what you already know, be able to ask questions, explore further, right? Communicate your thoughts well. Right? These, both in English, which is the primary language of instruction, and if some of you are very good at Indian languages, which we hope many of you are, okay, will be inspired to continue your exploration in other Indian languages also. Right? Secondly, what is it to reason well? How do you understand if someone is making a good argument or not? How do you make sure that you are not persuaded in the wrong direction by false arguments? How do you make sure that you don't accept and doubt without being cynical? Is a fundamental part of their intellectual life, and that is part of the foundations course. The second part of the common curriculum is something we call Understanding India. It's probably one part of the curriculum that is extremely challenging and something which we are very, very keen on and very interested in developing as we go along. The assumption behind that part of the curriculum is that every young person in higher education entering probably an occupation must have or must begin to have a nuanced understanding of the society that we are all part of. Like I said, India is complex. Historically, how we have reached where we are is very, very complex, multifaceted. Politically, we are infirmant. Right? Socially, we are unequal. There are huge areas of what you can describe only as unjust structures of inequality, disadvantage, underprivilege that are part of our society. Changing this society from what it is to, even to some extent, actualizing the vision of the Constitution is again not something you can do as a matter of engineering. There is no well-defined, clear, formulaic path to reach that. Okay? Are you still with me? So beginning that journey, understanding the kind of society that we are is important for any young person. So the courses in the Understanding India component of the common curriculum introduce you to various aspects of social, historical, political, ecological dimensions of Indian society. It asks questions like, what is India? What does it mean to be an Indian? When we say we want India to develop, what could we mean? Right? Are there any well-known paths to development? Right? When we say India has a tremendous cultural diversity, what do we mean by that? What is the nature of the kind of culture and cultures that Indians belong to? Right? So these kind of questions are central to what you study and learn in the common curriculum. The last component of the common curriculum is what we call creative expressions. These include courses which are introduce students and allow an opportunity to explore areas of aesthetic expression. The aesthetic, which means very broadly, simply put, experiencing various aspects of what is beauty, what is creativity, how do we express it, how do we appreciate it. Is it music? Is it dance? Is it movement? Is it playing a game very, very well with great skill and agility and fluidity of motion? Right? All these are part of the aesthetic. Now, unfortunately, all of you in school probably have big and a lot of jokes about art class. Right? Art class is a big joke. Maybe you had an idiosyncratic art teacher, or some of you got into the board. In this whole struggle to get better marks, art probably took a backseat. Creative expressions is not just about art, it is developing a sensibility. Developing a sensitivity. And that takes a lot of hard work on your part. We still find that students very often are not motivated by their own interest to put a lot of energy into it. There are so many distractions in college, right? Distractions of friendship, distractions of entertainment, and where to put your time is not very clear. Right? So through creative expressions, we expect many of our present students are smiling knowingly, they know it better than I do. So the creative expressions courses try to give opportunities, not to teach, they're not trying to teach you art. Give you opportunities in spaces where students can further their interest. So this is a common curriculum. The specializations, right? The specializations, what we commonly call the majors, allow you to specialize in generally one, in the humanities perhaps more than one, particular disciplines. Whether it's a scientific discipline like biology or physics, or a social science discipline like economics, or we have a combined humanities major which introduces students to history, language and literature, and philosophy. Now, we hope that the foundations in the common curriculum are a springboard for learning specializing. Okay. From the sensibilities and capacities that have been begun in the common curriculum, you go on to study your majors in greater depth. Right now we have only 4 majors because we are a very small program. In the first year we have just about 100 students. We may have about 120. The university's new campus is coming up, likely to come up in the next 3 years near Sarjapur. It's a large 80 or 90 acre campus with about 2 million square feet, with some of the tallest buildings in South India, right? And when that comes up, which unfortunately none of you may study in, right? We will have many more majors, many other specializations will be on offer. But being part of the second batch also has great advantages. It's a small community, everyone knows everyone else, faculty spend a lot of time on campus, many of them, almost everyone stays overnight 1 or 2 days in the residences, right? and the kind of, you're spoiled by attention, sometimes too much attention, you know everything that you do. Can't escape. So given all that, so there are both tremendous advantages to be a part of a small community of people in a very interesting undergraduate program, which is perhaps going on to become a fairly large program. Large not by the general standards. Our college will maybe not in the next 2 decades will not become a program with 15,000 or 20,000 students. We may reach 2,000 or 3,000, which by our standards, Indian standards, is a very, very small college. So as you can see, our focus is to give our students very intense attention. We work very, very hard with the students, and we want the students who come into the program to come in ready to work very, very hard. Not coming saying that, oof, I finished my 12th, I worked very hard, I got my percentages, I got it, now I can relax. Sorry, you can't relax. You can relax in some ways, but come prepared to work very hard, because this is the time in the next 3 years when your intellectual capabilities are flowering. You're going to be in the midst of very, very interesting young people who are already in the program. See, the first batch had the disadvantage that they have no seniors to look up to or interact with. Now they're waiting for you. Right? You have a very, very accomplished faculty, right? Many of whom are researchers, doing very important and interesting work in their areas, right? They can trigger your interest in their areas, help you with undergraduate research, right? Help you further your interest, whether the interest is in ecology or molecular biology or microeconomics or Indian history or whatever it may be. The university's main campus is here. We have about 120 or 130,000 square feet of space here. Most of the programs run from here. Our undergraduate residences are near Sarjapur. We have both study spaces and living spaces here. Students do come over here once a week, and the main library is here, main lecture halls are here, and the students will be spending a lot of the time in the undergraduate residences in Sarjapur and spending some time here. Other thing I want to emphasize is that our regular admission process that is going to take place, we will have an admission test and followed by an interview. Unfortunately, we cannot invite every student who has applied for the program for the interviews. We have far more students than we can accommodate in the program who have applied, and therefore we must. We can only give the offer of interviews and then an offer of position in the program to a few set of students. And that will be through a written test, which is going to be a fairly simple written test, which just helps you express your linguistic, language and basic mathematical capacities. Nothing like what you have gone through in your 12th standard. Okay, so you can relax when you go into the test and then interviews. If you are offered an admission in the program, I would urge those of you who accept that to do so fully and completely sure that you are accepting that offer. As most parents and Indian students do, it's a national pastime to collect as many offers you can get from as many different places as you can get. It might be everything from engineering to catering college to MBA, BBA to this, that and the other, and then you drive yourself nuts trying to decide what you want to do. Please. We have tried to give you as much information as possible. Our entire curriculum is up there in the website. Names of faculty, details, in universities, everything is there. Information is available. Please make an informed decision. And once you decide, stick to. If you come on the 18th of July saying that I am joining the program and 1 week later you get an offer from XYZ college and you feel I must go, you are going to deny a position to somebody, because after the 18th of July we will not, once our orientation program starts, we will not accept anybody even if our numbers fall below. So if you're confused about whether Azim Premji University's program is right for you, probably it is not right for you. So when you come in, be very clear, because I mean seriously, it would be very, very unfair for a student who would have joined the program. So when you accept, sometime in June, okay, we will ask you to pay some money and accept it. We may even give you, Mr. Rajgopal's office will let you know what the details are. We will even give you an exit option for a few, 2 or 3 weeks. After that, if your name is still there, we would like to assume, on the behalf of the university and all the students who have lost an opportunity, that you are going to come. We can start with the Sciences, Economics and Humanities. So, we have Professor Rajaram Nityananda, who is a physicist. He will talk about our physics program, followed by Professor Divya Uma, a biologist. We also have Professor Kripa Gavishankar, who is a physicist. Rahul Dev, who is a professor in the economics faculty, and Professor A.M. Sunandu.
Actually, my plan was to take some general statements for the science program and request my colleagues Kripa and Divya to go into more detail regarding physics and biology, which are the 2 majors that we are offering to start with. So the very first question which people ask is, what about mathematics, what about chemistry, what have you got against these disciplines? And part of the answer was already given by Venu, that we are a young program, a small program, and too many majors would mean very small classes, and so we had to make this difficult choice. But this is just the starting point. And in fact, I should say, emphasize right at the beginning, the people who designed the physics program and the biology program fully realize that physics program without some content of chemistry and some content of mathematics is not really a good physics program. Okay? So you can be sure that amongst the courses offered, there will be opportunities for, say, a physics major to learn about those aspects of chemistry and certainly those aspects of mathematics which are relevant to physics. So I wanted to deal with this right at the beginning. It may somewhat surprise you to know, but this is equally true of biology. That biology involves chemistry, everyone knows. I mean, all these marvelous molecules of life. But increasingly, biologists use sophisticated experimental tools, sophisticated computer modeling, mathematical modeling. So, in fact, the biology course also does involve a certain amount of mathematical background, which, if people have not had before, we provide the help and support. Okay, so let me address a broader question, which is, in what ways is science program different from what might be available elsewhere? So if I sort of go back to what science studying was like 50 years ago, which is when I entered the science program, it was full of facts, full of formulae. If you did chemistry or biology, it was full of names of various life forms, various chemicals, various reactions. I mean, all of this is definitely part of science, but it's not the whole, right? I mean, it took many years later for some of us to realize the bigger picture, that science is really a way of looking at the natural world, looking at it quantitatively, looking at it logically, looking at it through experiment, and that somehow didn't come out in the science education. Of course, things have improved. So I will not say that in other places are completely as governed by a formula, by ordinary, as it might have been in my time. Though when I look at the 11th and 12th, perhaps with the best of intentions of packing in a lot of material, I think some of you may find it difficult to see the big picture. So one of our first aims in designing the science program was that really we should emphasize foundations, we should emphasize concepts, we should emphasize connections. So for example, we say physics and we say biology, but when a creature breathes, then there is physics in the way the air flows into the lungs, there is chemistry in the way the oxygen gets exchanged, so on. So these divisions are somewhat artificial, and our curriculum recognizes this. So the physics major may well see examples from biology or geology or astronomy cropping up while studying a physics concept, and likewise the biology major will be exposed to the concepts of other disciplines which are needed. So while we do offer two majors and each has its own set of courses, the faculty know and the students also get to know that these divisions are a little artificial. And that's important because today some of the most important problems involve application of different areas of science. We call that interdisciplinary. Maybe this is the point to bring in what another question people ask. How will this prepare the student for higher studies? Okay. Now, higher studies is certainly one of the options which an undergraduate might well keep in mind. Okay. And there is, I will tell you a little more detail. If there is a person who is absolutely sure that they want to go to a master's, go PhD and so on, what that person should do in our program. But the program also recognizes that, especially today, there are many more opportunities for a student of science than going along the standard path, which is the path I took myself. BSc, MSc, PhD, join a research institute, train some people who again become PhD, maybe train more people and so on. I mean, some people do this, but as a reality, we do see a lot of opportunities are opening up, and there's a good reason for this. And the reason is that today there's a huge concern about issues which concern everyone, but which involve science, energy, environment, health. Okay, they all have a scientific component. It's increasingly being recognized, and this is being addressed by organizations of all kinds. Government organizations, our own government has a chain of labs that address societal issues. Industry, of course, has to make a business, make profits, but certainly, perhaps the profits are to be made in areas where there is a great crying demand. Okay, and the non-governmental sector, and even in the business world, there is what's called corporate social responsibility. So there are many opportunities for people to use their scientific knowledge. And even if one went into the IAS, by the way, we do not have any prior prejudice on where you should go. It's really where you want to go. And when you say you want, it's a decision, informed decision that you make after exposure to different possibilities, discussion, exposure to common curriculum. It's not something you do over fashion or anything like that. Right? So we are not trying to put you on one track. But whichever track it is, maybe you go to the IAS. But perhaps IAS is also an understanding of the realities of energy of health program and a good scientific background. So, how do we try to do all these things? By flexibility. So, if you take, say, physics just as an example, you might have 8 core courses, but elective courses. We also recognize that even if people are going for higher studies in physics, some might go to experiments, some might go to, computer modeling, some might go to purely mathematical theory. So, we have made provision for these different options. There is an honors stream which allows people to do a project with a faculty member. All this applies to biology as well. Okay. So, by offering this flexibility, by offering electives, and there's another kind of flexibility, the flexibility to take a minor. So, a physics student might take a mathematics minor, but suppose you've decided that you're interested in going into energy, then maybe you should take an economics minor, or maybe minor in data science. So, I think this is where I feel that our program may have something to offer which may not be that easy to find in other places. Okay. For a student of science, the possibility of electives, possibility of honors program, the possibility of choosing a minor, and for those who are really adventurous, maybe you say, I don't want a minor, so I will take a couple of courses in economics and then one in poetry or something like that. Okay, I'm not sure how many of you want that, but it's a possibility, it is available. A few of you might actually want that. So, I think that sort of completes what I wanted to say in general about the science program. Specifically about biology, let me request Divya, and then maybe after that, Kripa can tell you a little more about the nuts and bolts of the physics program. Divya?
Humanities and economics.
So, you like doing it smaller groups?
Smaller groups.
For smaller groups, okay. So then, yeah, maybe that can be more effective because if you want more details about either the physics or the biology, the scientific may not be used in both, so we'll be available to smaller groups. Okay. So then, maybe I can, and we can take, no, because I didn't give any details, if someone wants to do the questions later. Okay.
Yes, let me just mention some of the things unique about the economics program, and if you have more specific questions, you can talk to me. I was student from my class, Malvika here, she can also give you a student's perspective about it. The economics major program has 11 courses. 6 of these courses are core courses, which means that every student has from economics has to do it. These are courses we believe everyone needs to be able to do economics at a high level. You have 5 elective courses, which essentially allow you to pick specializations areas which you are interested in and do work in that. Some of the unique things about the economics program is, firstly, we are very big on exposing you to different perspectives in economics. If you've done economics in school, you've probably done micro, macro, statistics, maybe some maths, which are all important building blocks, but there are many different perspectives in economics coming from different subjects, which we believe any undergraduate student should be exposed to. So, for example, politics, history, philosophy, environmental issues, cost and gender issues is all sort of related to economics, and our sort of program pushes you to get exposed to all these different kinds of perspectives. And the thinking is that once you leave from this program, you've been exposed to enough things so that you can choose what you want to work in or what you want to study more in. The other big focus we have is most economics programs, textbooks use examples, data from the Western world. We really want to expose the students to what's happening in India, in South Asia, and what's happening right now in contemporary times. So most of our courses use data, case studies, most of the research questions we ask are really focused towards India right now. Some quick examples. So for example, right now students are doing introduction to macro course. So they study the budget which just came out. They study, let's say, Raghuram Rajana, their government is speech, they study and say what he's trying to say. They look at how different ways the economy or the economic advice is trying to control inflation in the country. I taught introduction to microeconomics. So some of the questions I look at is, let's say, why is traffic or the water situation so bad in Bangalore? How do companies like Ola and Uber work? How do they charge such cheap prices? How does online markets work? So the big sort of push is to make you think about issues around you, which you might be interested in, but also the thinking is that our students should go and sort of later when they work or whatever higher studies they do is focus towards understanding our country and our society and working towards improvement. The third big key, I think, and not just for economics but for the whole program is we are not so big about giving lectures and getting a lot of information and then giving exams. I think the idea is to get all our students to engage in issues they like and we give them the tools to do so. Which is why a lot of our courses are very focused towards doing your own research, figuring out what you find interesting, using what you learn to understand it. We from our side give you the tools, teach you techniques, these are data sources, but we really urge our students to sort of explore the questions they find interesting. Because I think that's the best way to really learn. If you have more specific questions about courses or what the program is like, please come and talk to us after this. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sunandan. I'm the Humanities department and teachers. I teach history there and also about the courses. So, from my own experience, I should say that usually people join engineering and decide whether to study some other things, as I did. So those who are coming to humanities section, I should say that you should be, I can assure you that this is a kind of course which is unique in some sense, and it's not about something, say history course, I can say that it's not about remembering what happened when. So our first task in humanities is to make you unlearn what you learned in school in some sense, because usually in most of the schools, I'm not saying in all schools, basically the social science, civic, history courses in school are not making you able to critically think, but to by heart things, laws, constitution, or history, what happened when. So we have a very different objective, and we have a very different structure of courses. So in humanities we have 3 streams, combined 3 streams. Unlike in colleges where you major in history or English or in philosophy, here we have a combined major as humanities, in which you will be exposed to different 3 different streams. But we know that if you have noticed in many the development of humanities in India or elsewhere, interdisciplinary is the key word or most fashionable word in this time. And like as researchers, we understand that unlike we know about literary criticism, I cannot do history, or if I don't have exposure to philosophical principles, it's very difficult to do literary criticism or any other kind of historical work. So the interdisciplinary usually is a like a later thing that's coming in universities, but we believe that all these 3 important disciplines are fundamental to understand our society, and so also it should start in undergraduate education. So the structure in the humanities course is that if you are taking humanities as a major, you will have 4 history core courses, you will have 4 language and literature core courses, and 3 philosophy courses. I will explain if somebody wants the details of the courses. I will explain later in the question and answer session. And you will have a chance of 5 courses you can select as minor or distributed credits. This can be, there are many minors we are offering, including education, development, sustainability, applied mathematics. If you are interested in mathematics, you can take applied mathematics also, or I think even physics and biology. If you are, but those courses have some pre-requirements. If you have that pre-requirements, you can take, but generally I don't think you want to. And this is for the general course, standard pathway. But if you have certain credits, certain grades, you can move into honors pathway, in which you will have additional 2 courses and 1 research thesis. So you can do guided research in that course, and which will have 6 credits. So that will complete your honors program. And also you can ask our students. We are very much into like engaging with the social issues in the current society, but at the same time also the academic, say for example the first history course deals not just with the history, but how to write history, how the question of what is history. These fundamental questions are always debated and discussed in the classes. So for more details you can ask questions. And also I think individual research interests, we are going to start different kinds of projects from the department. So from the very beginning, students can be part of research work in which faculty is engaged in. So it will be a very good exposure for the beginning. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So the program is residential. In the sense, you have to stay in the residences. Students have to stay in the residences. Even for students who stay in Bangalore. Of course, Bangalore being what it is, if you are staying in Nepal, commuting every day is not an option. Though some of our faculty. Yeah.
So you mentioned the residence is somewhere near Sajjapur.
Sajjapur, yes.
And the college campus is here.
So the classes do happen there also, largely there. We have our labs there. And on one day a week the students come here. The university's main offices are here, the main campus is here, right? So
what you're saying is, bulk of the classes will happen
out
there.
Yeah.
On need basis, they will
That's
come here.
it. That's it. When they come here, there are buses arranged. Rules and regulations of the residences. Now there are rules and residences of the rules and regulations of the residences. You probably will get one set if you ask the students. Right? And it appears that it's a moving target. So residences and rules and residences in what sense? So let me, okay, jokes apart. The attempt in the residences is to create or build a safe, supportive and responsible community of students and faculty, which will contribute to the students' well-being. How do you do that? Now, there is no surefire set of formulae which can say this is, if you do this, this will happen. Okay? So, there are some important, what we feel are very, very important, non-negotiable things in the residences which contribute. Then there are a few things which are required, encouraged, right? For instance, please eat well. Please exercise well. Now we can't force students to eat well or exercise well. We can recommend it, we can encourage it. Please sleep well. Right? Again, we can't force people to sleep. 19 years old, you feel that 4 o'clock is when you need to feel sleep. By then, most of the faculty are fast asleep. So, do you have any specific questions? It's better because there is so much I can say that no, specific questions about the rules and regulations of us. So we allow students to leave and go home in the weekends. These days, I think on Saturday mornings you can go home and you have to report back to the hostels by Sunday night. All students are expected, and I'm not saying that these will exactly be the rules, a new batch of students will take. There may be some changes based on our discussions going to happen in the coming 2 months. We want students to be back in the hostels latest by 10 p.m. right? And not go out before 6 What else?
Possibly, is it a dorm type?
Pardon?
The accommodation is it dormitory type or the twin share rooms?
These are currently there are the current cohort has 2 per room. The incoming cohort next year also we will be able to offer 2 people per room. They are originally designed for 3 per room. Okay. So mentally be prepared to have a room of 3 people. It may be, you may definitely have 2 people, right? So, I don't know whether we're going to have a visit to the residences after the admission process is over. So probably once the admission process is over and the offers are made and the students accept, for the students who have accepted admission, we may have a visit to the, or even before accepting final acceptances, we may invite students and their families who are to come and visit the residences. But you can ask them about how they experience the residences.
One more question on the admission test. So it's going to be on English and quantitative.
Yeah.
One would be what? It will be like general quantitative techniques, or will it?
There is a sample question paper in the website. You can download
There is
that.
sample question. Like, what is the date?
But once
What is the date?
all that information is available in the website. Yeah. Yes. There are books are also, there is a library we are building up there, but many libraries here. And we may have classes here once a week. These days, Thursday, whether we continue that next semester, because now we have to transport 200 odd students instead of 100 students, which means four or more buses. It's extremely expensive to do that, and we'll decide, we haven't decided. But we will facilitate students coming here and spending time here too. We will have a total of about 120 students. Not more than 30 to 35. We have already an existing placement cell for the postgraduate program. We will extend that facility to the undergraduate students also. See, we will, now that is 1.5 years, at least 1.5 years away, right? And we will discuss, we will have extensive discussions with our current students, find out what they want to do, how many of them, see, they will be well advised, let's put it that way. You don't need to have. However, like Professor Agaram said, to study physics, you do require, if not an extensive background, at least a deep interest in some capability to acquire mathematical ability. Right? So we don't mind a student who has not studied mathematics after the 10th standard choosing physics. We don't block that. But we would like to help that student make the right choice and be sure that that student can meet the expectations.
Does the foundation course covers the bridge, the gap? What
to a large extent, but it will depend a lot on the student. So, in fact, we don't have a special pathway for students who haven't done it. There is preparatory mathematics courses which try to get the students to meet the requirements of the program, but the students will have to put in a lot of additional effort and time to meet the requirements. Yeah.
What are the courses offered in semester 1? Like, you have to choose your majors and as you enter, I want to take a
Yes, since this is a 3-year program, we are not able to offer students the facility of choosing the major after they join. Okay. In fact, when we were designing the program, it was intended as a 4-year program, and then the UGC changed the rules and interpreted the rules that all undergraduate programs have to be of 3-year duration, which puts us in a situation where we have to, students have to choose the major when they come in, right? Students do have the option of changing majors in the 2nd year to some extent. We don't guarantee it, but students who have the, on a case-by-case basis, we have allowed a few students to change their majors.
Because for someone who wants to explore different and then take a call, and how how would you help a student like that? I mean, saying, I'm just giving them, say, bio and this literature and the psychology. It's completely different all three. But the interest is there and not sure which one would see.
Yeah, when a student who is making a decision to shift and wants to shift based on his or her interest after understanding, add an extra year to study this. We have currently four majors on offer. My advice to a student who at this moment just does not know what she is interested in would be to access. I don't know whether more information will help. Usually, you have to go to someone who knows the student reasonably well, knows her interests, her capabilities, what she has done, and that is probably a better person to advise than someone like me who doesn't, or any of our faculty who don't know the student and will be only able to offer very general advice. Maybe the student does not require general advice, needs very specific advice made from someone who knows her.
Interview questions would be based on the major that he or she applied.
See, the interview is a mix of arriving at a judgment about the student's suitability for the program and the particular major, and also a general suitability for the program. Right? It's not, we are not going to grill the students in great depth about physics or biology. There will be some questions. So, this is something we will repeat again and again. Interviews are not only designed to trip students up. They're not, it's not a kneading machine, put them through a kind of a grill.
No, the reason I ask that is certain subjects like philosophy, etc. Very few would have had an exposure in school. So it will be something absolutely new.
So we will not ask questions on this.